to the EQ video tip. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter. It's great to have you, as always, on this show. We've got a terrific show today. Let's jump into the goals of EQ video tip. Welcome back to the EQ video tip. We've got a great show today. We're going to talk about ways to stop negative self-talk, and we all do this. We sit there and say, I'm not good enough, or I messed up, and it just keeps seeping doubt into us. It makes us doubt ourselves, doubt others, and think that we're doing something wrong. And there are ways to stop this. Now, this tip comes to us from Aisha Bo Shine, and Shine had a great discussion with a psychologist, Latoya Gaines, and Latoya talks about 4 different types of self-doubt, I should say, or negative self-talk. We're going to talk about all 4 ways that come out there and how to prevent them or to essentially temper those types of self-talk. The 4 ways that we're going to talk about are personalization, filtering, catastrophizing things, which is always a tough thing, as well as polarizing. Let's jump into the 4 tips that Shine has for us. Our first tip, personalization. We've all had this moment. Personalization, when you say, it's not you, it's me, and you really are putting all that me on yourself. For example, say your friends are on a group chat with you, and you send a question out like, hey, anybody want to get together this weekend? And you don't hear back, and it's an hour, and then another hour, and then it's 6 hours, and maybe even a day. And the first step that you start thinking is, they don't like me, they don't care about me, they don't want to be with me, right? And all this self-doubt keeps coming in. But your rational brain should really put in something else, which is maybe there's an alternative explanation to that negative thought that's out there. So the next time that you have this personalization moment where you're like, oh my God, my friends don't love me, they don't care about me, something goes wrong, it's a little different than normal, take a step back. The author tells us, breathe deeply. Evaluate the situation. Take a look and think to yourself, you know that your friends care about you. What are some other more realistic things that are actually going on and is the reason that you're not hearing from them? Again, use that for whatever it might be when you start personalizing a self-doubt or a self-talk that will make you feel negative about yourself. Tip number 2. Filtering. This is a great one. And filtering is you magnify a negative aspect of something that's positive. For example, say you're trying to save $200 a month. And every time you save $200, you're really happy. But one month you go over budget, and instead of saving $200, you overspend $50. So you only save $150. At that moment, you may say to yourself, oh, I'm terrible. I wasted an extra $50. But the fact is, you still put money into savings. And we know that there's a benefit to that. So instead of magnifying the negative aspect, look at every accomplishment that you make, no matter what they do, because they're going to outweigh the negative ones. And when you begin to look at the glass as half full as opposed to half empty in this space, you're going to feel much more rewarded as you go through this. If you find yourself doing filtering, try to jot down things that have gone right for you recently. That will work really well, because then you'll realize all the good things that are happening, and you will filter out the bad ones. Tip number 3, the catastrophe or catastrophizing something. Say you're on your way to work, and all of a sudden you're on the train or the metro or the tube, whatever it might be, and the train stops. Your first thought is, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck here for days or hours. Well, that's a catastrophe. And really, are you going to be stuck there for days or hours? Probably not. What's the chances of that actually happen? And how likely is it going to happen? But if you are stuck for that, will you be okay with it? Probably. And this is just an instance where you have to take a step back, relax, look at the bigger picture, and realize that yes, you may be stuck, but it might be 20 minutes or might be an hour, but again, it's not a full catastrophe. So take a moment to analyze the situation and put things into perspective. Our last tip, polarizing. And this is one that we are all falling victim to. Things are either good or they're bad, and there's no in between. For example, you want to work out every morning, and you do that every morning, but one morning you feel tired, you hit snooze like we all do, and you sleep in, and you say to yourself, oh, I'm a lazy person, or I just never accomplish anything. Well, that may not be true, because you've been accomplishing things all the time, and you have to treat yourself with kindness. It's very hard to do at times, but you have to realize that, hey, I've accomplished things, and things don't always go perfectly. Reassure yourself that you're only human, because all of us make mistakes. Trust me, I had to do this video 5 or 6 times before I got it right. If you make the choices to cater to yourself and your needs in the moment, you're going to be better off in the long run. So realize that mistakes can become a lesson in motivating yourself to become better and more in touch with your own reality as well. Try to do things like practicing positivity within yourself as well. You can say little things like, I will be able to cope with the mistake that I made, or I'm good with how I'm working today, or I'm good enough to do these things. I'm able to accomplish it. Little acts like that will help you out to push out the negative feelings that you might feel and those polarizing feelings when you do something that's a little off kilter, not exactly where you want to be. Remember, practicing positivity takes a lot of time, and it's not about disregarding those negative feelings. Rather, it's acknowledging that you found a way around them. So take the time when you start a polarizing activity to think about the positiveness that you may have in the aspects of success that you've had in your life while you go through this. That's a wrap. That's the EQ video tip for this week. Thanks again to Aisha Beaushine for her great tips on this. Take a look at those tips in case you missed them. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ Video Tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.